Hey guys, guess what? I got something else for you today. Check this out. There's a shooting out of I want to say Albuquerque. So, Walter White area. Let's go over the story first. This is from BuzzFeed. Let's get out of here. All right. Newly released body cam footage shows Albuquerque police shooting a man holding a shovel. Footage was released uh, this week, showing a killing of Valente Acosta Bustillos in New Mexico last month. So this was on the 3rd of March this happened. The Albuquerque Police Department this weekend released body camera footage showing an officer fatally shooting a man holding a shovel last month. The footage showed the quick escalation of the March 30th encounter between Valente Acosta Bustillo and two officers, during which the 52-year-old tried to flee, was tased, and then was fatally shot. Acosta's daughter had called police to perform a welfare check on her father, and he hadn't answered his phone for several days. The Albuquerque Journal reported, "My client calls in to ask for a welfare check to make sure everything is okay." Attorney Mark Caruso told the Albuquerque Journal she calls APD to check on her father, and it ends up APD is the cause of his death. Caruso, who is preparing to sue the department, and Officer Edgar Sandoval, one of the two officers involved, did not immediately respond to BuzzFeed's news request for comment. Acosta appeared to be doing his work in the yard when officers first arrived. He had a shovel in hand, was wearing thick black gloves, according to the body camera footage. Officers greeted Acosta in Spanish, addressing him by his first name. He stopped what he was doing and started chatting with them calmly, but things changed suddenly when police ran his name and discovered he had an outstanding warrant for his arrest. Acosta had recently been charged with aggravated assault with a deadly weapon after he was accused of beating a neighbor with a hammer and threatening to kill him. Then he failed to show up for his court date. When officers went to arrest Acosta, he fled into his home and tried to close the door behind him. Officers pushed their way in and ordered him to drop the shovel he still had in his hand. When he didn't do so immediately, Officer Joseph Bush tased him. When that didn't incapacitate him, Bush's partner Sandoval shot him 3 times. Acosta then ran into his bathroom and tried to use a chair to barricade from the police while he lay bleeding on the bathroom floor, screaming for about 5 minutes while officers stood by waiting for medics. Eventually, after Acosta was searched for weapons, the officers found only his wallet. Someone then tried to apply pressure to his wounds, but by the time he was carried out of his bathroom on a sheet, he was silent. He was later pronounced dead at the local hospital. The Albuquerque Police Department is currently operating under a court-ordered settlement with the Justice Department. Under the Obama administration, the Justice Department sued the police department, alleging a pattern of officers using excessive force. During a call with reporters, Justice Department officials, and the independent monitor overseeing the settlement agreement, Corey Sanders, a Justice Department lawyer, asked police officials to explain the officer's quick escalation. According to the Albuquerque Journal, it seemed like the individual who had the shovel when he approached the officer, he seemed to be loose. It seemed like the individual who had the shovel when he approached the officer, he seemed to be lucid. He didn't seem to be a threat. He didn't seem violent, said Sanders. "I'm trying to take it frame by frame and trying to understand how things escalated." Lieutenant Scott Norris said that and other questions surrounding the shooting would be answered by ongoing administrative and criminal investigations. Okay, let's watch. I don't understand Spanish, so I don't get what's going on at the beginning of all of this. Everything seems cool. Everybody's calm. It doesn't seem like they ask him to put the shovel down at any point in time, and it doesn't say that in any of the news articles that I've read. But I do have some problem with how the news articles are wording things. Because it doesn't ever say that this guy swings the shovel at them, and we're going to slow it down. I can't tell for certain, but it almost looks like he does, and I also hear a noise that is not a gunshot, and they only say there's 3 shots fired. So we'll listen to the sounds too. I'm wondering why, if they're here for, hang on, let's pull it back a bit. Watch his hand. See how it goes to his gun? I don't know if the same officer is doing that as well, right? So for some reason, it feels to me like they have a feeling that this is going to be an issue in the first place. Either that, or they're just kind of weirded out by how kind of shady this yard looks. Because like if they were here for each they'd be like, "Hey, how you doing? You good? Your daughter was worried about you. Everything's fine. Okay, cool. We're off. You should answer your phone. Let your daughter know you're okay." And for some reason, I guess the things he's saying get them to where they want to run a check on him. Like I don't know what's being said, but something prompts them to be like, "Hey, listen." Want to double check that?
Yeah, is all of his or 49 already on there? You know?
Are all of his 49 going to be on there? So it sounds like
The car? Okay.
stuff that he has
Cool.
coming up against him. So for some reason, they feel there's a need to check on this guy. So the other cop is going to sit there and calmly speak with him. They don't show, or I haven't found the other body cam footage. I found this one, but I can't find the other one. Alright, so he's going to go in, he's going to sit down. There's a bunch of music playing.
Speaker 222.
Can I get a 2912 on one, please?
So now he was typing stuff in.
Last name was going to be Adam, Charles, Ocean, Sam, Tom, Adam.
Acosta.
First name was going to be Victor, Adam, Lincoln, Edward, Nora, Tom, Edward.
And then, this isn't me. This is the footage. It does it twice because I'm assuming some type of information is given that they didn't want to release. So that's silenced in every video I can find. He waits for information.
PD Baker 222.
What?
All right, your subject is coming back with one possible local felony. It's under a hyphenated last name, Valente Acosta hyphen Bucios. Descriptors are listing him as a
Bucios?
white male, signed 10, 126 brown and brown. Nothing further. Did you want this confirmed or just a sound X?
Do you have a DL number for him?
Driver's license number. I'm assuming that's what that means.
A 12 is coming back under the name of Valente.
And this is the second time they blur it.
Nothing for the record, and when I run it, it comes back a skip.
10-4, and you did advise it was a felony, right?
That is 10-4.
Okay, so he knows it's a felony.
10-4, just for 49, can you, I just want to make sure we have the right subject. Can you tell me what the felony's coming back to?
What type of felony?
The felony is coming back to the name Valente Acosta hyphen Bucios. Does use the AKA of Valente Acosta.
10-4, and was that for an aggravated assault?
So he's confirming it's the person, and confirming what
That is 10-4 with 48 utilized a weapon before.
Okay, so now he's assuming someone
Stand by, thank you.
could have a weapon.
You're welcome.
Okay, so now he's gonna go back. And shit is getting ready to pop off. For some reason, he must know. Like, he must know that he has a warrant out for him for not showing up for a court date, for threatening his neighbor. And it's like, okay, he was threatening with a hammer, which is probably why he was working on something and didn't like his neighbor. Well, now he's got a shovel, which is a deadly weapon, guys. Let's be honest. Not as deadly as a gun, but it's still a like, I can kill somebody with a shovel, no problem. I mean, you can kill someone with your fist. It's unlikely, but sounds like he's saying something about court. Okay. So they try to grab him.
Put it down now.
Put it down.
Don't go back there with.
Don't go back there with them. Now listen.
Back up.
Here,
Back up. You're gonna be tased.
here comes the taser.
You're gonna be tased.
Put it down. He didn't put it down. Now listen. Ting ting. There's 5 shots and it sounds like 3 hit him. Now let's stop this. Let's stop this real quick. Dropper, you're gonna be tased. Sends 2 commands. Put it down. He hasn't put it down. He hasn't even made any movement to do it. There goes the taser. Now look right here. It looks like he picks the shovel up. You see that line right there? It looks like he picks it up to swing from this angle. There's a ding, and then right. Can't see him. So it sounds like he swung and probably hit his bed. Okay. So they shoot him. Now they shoot him enough where he runs into his bathroom. And he's fucked up. And you can see the chair right there in the little bit that he pulled behind him apparently. Right here.
Stay down.
And he's still standing right there. I don't know if they're telling him to sit or what they tell him. It gets pretty bloody. And they go and they talk about going through to do something, but like they don't have guns and they want to make sure he doesn't have any weapons on him.
I'm gonna go get my taser coat just in case.
So he goes, gets his gear. Comes back in. They peek in and it gets bloody at a point in time. So this is what it sounds like when someone's dying. For those of you who have never heard it, they talk about. I didn't timestamp when they talk about what they're planning on doing. Now here's where things are going to be different between this instance and the Richard Paul Pusey. I don't know what they're saying, but it doesn't sound like there's any malice or any hate in the words that they're doing. I'm going to assume they're telling him to stay calm, stop moving, things like that. People are on the way, blah, 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 don't move. Maybe they're telling him not to reach for his pockets. Something like, who knows? All of those things are valid at this moment. Now he's just telling him to hurry. Step it up. The shooting started at
Valente, do you have the gloves?
No. No.
no gloves.
Be the right yourself. Just wait.
So that we can pat him down.
Okay. I don't have them. Let me have additional units come.
Okay, so he's bleeding. They want to pat him down, but they're not going to do it while he's bleeding. He could have AIDS, herpes, any other type of STD. He could have the coronavirus. I mean, come on, guys. I don't want to go touch a bleeding person who just attacked me when you're already someone who's facing a charge for trying to attack your next door neighbor with a hammer. Aggravated assault with a weapon.
Keep your hands up, man. Keep your hands up.
I see they don't know what he's reaching for. So keep your hands up. Sounds reasonable. So I'm going to pause it here because the rest of the video is just him moaning. Here, I'll wait till the cops or till the sirens show up. Here, you can hear him. So it's been 4 minutes and they're on their way. That I think is him. Oh, see, he's crawling to the front. So, but yeah, they get here, they show up.
No.
But either way, so that's what happened. Here's what I have a problem with. Things slightly changed when police ran his name. Discovered he had when officers went to arrest him, he fled into his home and tried to close the door behind him. It looks like the door just kind of swung on its own, but either way, officers pushed their way in. He had to open the one door and ordered him to drop the shovel still in his hand. When he didn't do so immediately, Officer Joseph Bush tased him. When that didn't incapacitate him, Bush's partner Sandoval shot him 3 times. No, that's not what happened. When that didn't incapacitate him and he raised the shovel and from what it looks like swung at them and they started to retreat, then Sandoval shot him 3 times. So tell me, am I supposed to let the person, like, I'm got to put myself in the officer's shoes, right? Because I think he's completely justified for shooting this guy. Assuming that he swung the shovel, and it looks like it. There's only those few frames, but in those few frames, that shovel is raised at an angle where you are ready to swing. More importantly, just a second or 2 or 3 seconds before that, he had the shovel with the metal blade end facing down and his hand in a certain position. He is now taking his hand, put it 180 degrees onto that shovel and is starting to lift it. That is the act of someone going to swing the shovel, because I'm not sure if any of you guys know how to use a fucking shovel, but you don't use it overhanded like that unless you're trying to hit somebody. So he swings the shovel. It sounds like he misses because the officer's dodging, and this guy's, what, 52 is what it said? Yeah, 52. He misses, and then he shoots him. You've already tried to attack somebody else and you have a warrant out for it. You are resisting arrest and you've now attacked a police officer. I feel he's justified being shot. You guys let me know down in the comments.